Buying tickets to sports and concerts can be complicated and confusing, but there's a better way to buy with SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the smartest, easiest way to get tickets to every type of live event. Whether you're searching for a last-minute deal, planning a night out, or need to find the perfect gift, SeatGeek helps you find the best seats at the best prices. Fully guaranteed. There's nothing quite like seeing your favorite team or musician in person, and SeatGeek will get you closer to the action for a great value. I have the SeatGeek app on my phone. It's by far the easiest way I've found to shop for tickets. I can be anywhere, and just a few taps, I can instantly find seats. I actually just used SeatGeek to buy tickets for my friends to the Broncos game while I was back on the East Coast. SeatGeek is designed to make your ticket buying experience easier than ever. And to get you the most bang for your buck, SeatGeek grades every ticket based on value to help you immediately identify the best seats that fit your budget. Plus, every purchase is fully guaranteed, so you can shop for tickets on SeatGeek with confidence. And best of all, my listeners get $20 off their first SeatGeek purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app, enter the promo code Russillo today. That's promo code Russillo for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase.
Guys, wouldn't your wife or girlfriend love it if you treated her to the very best this Christmas? Now you can, with the world's softest pajamas by Pajamagram. Created by a team of pajama experts, the world's softest PJs are lighter than a cloud, softer than a bunny, like cashmere, only better. She'll love how heavenly they feel. Includes free gift packaging and Christmas delivery is guaranteed. So visit pajamagram.com or call 1-800-GIVE-PJs.
Okay, it's Friday. We got Vilma. We need a table of contents for the start of the show today. The Russillo Show on ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. The Friday routine continues, where I've been solo a bit here through the fall to start Friday's show, and I've actually had a lot of fun with it. So we're going to do a couple different deals with that. And we have the sit down this week. We got it going again. Carlos Boozer rented his house to Prince. I know he's done versions of the story before, but he did a full-blown 8-9 minutes for us on that whole deal. So we've got Boozer, we've got Vilma for probably the second 2 hours today. And we also have our all-access deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. Their game tonight on ESPN at 7 Eastern. And that's been the theme of the whole deal. SportsCenter's been down there. First Take's got Embiid. We have the Sixers CEO who has tried to everybody's making process jokes, but basically the point is he was there for the start of the trust the process, and now he's starting to see the fruit of that whole deal. I want to start with last night's NBA game, and the one that I watched a little bit closer. Not so much Golden State and Dallas, but that is Lonzo and LeBron. And when I think about what went down last night, it was very, very telling. The Lakers are an impressive team, even though the record isn't that good. And at one point, they were kind of milling around 500. But I find them impressive because there are young teams in the league that are young, and some of the guys aren't that good, and there's not really, how many of them are really in the rotation. And then there's a team like the Lakers where you go, maybe there's a chance that 2 or 3 of these players could be pretty good. Maybe it's just 2, maybe it ends up just being 1. But the Lakers are not an easy team to coach because there's about 7 or 8 guys that have not reached their NBA identity. So that means that probably 7 or 8 players on that team think they're all going to be all-stars because they're young kids. And because they're so young, they haven't accepted some of their shortcomings. And the reality is in the NBA, half of them are going to be really disappointed about their careers and maybe disappointed about their next contract. But right now, they're still kind of living in that delusional young phase that's always so fun. I mean, it's like an endorphin. You're like, man, I'm awesome. I'm young and I'm going to be great. I'm going to be an all-star. I'll probably be in the Hall of Fame. But it doesn't work out that way. But that team is loaded with a bunch of guys who are trying to figure out who they are. When you have a rebuilding team, it's really hard to have just a bunch of guys on rookie contracts because they're all freaking out. They haven't accepted their plight that, you know what, you're probably going to be a bench guy. You might even be in the G League a little bit. And that's okay. You know what I mean? It's great to be confident. It's great to have expectations for yourself. But the Lakers are that group, and Luke Walton still has them playing really good defense. And he still has them in a lot of games. And, look, it comes to winning time. The veteran team, unless they completely go down their leg, they're going to pull away from you and win the game. That's exactly what happened last night with the Cavs and Lakers. Exactly what happened. But afterwards, everybody was freaking out because LeBron pulled the old shirt over the mouth and started talking to Lonzo, and then Lonzo didn't know, like, hey, am I supposed to do it too so nobody can see what I'm saying? And they start doing that, and it's kind of like the pitcher at the mound deal with the hand over, the glove over, or the guy that has the call sheet on the sideline where he's doing it in front of his face, and everyone wants to know what the hell they talked about. LeBron was asked about it.
The things that you said about Lonzo, is that why it was so important for you to have that post-game chat with him after the game?
Absolutely.
Were you mentoring him or giving him any advice?
None of y'all business.
Thanks, LeBron. Thanks, everybody.
None of y'all business.
None of y'all business. None. Okay. Here's the deal. I've seen all sorts of people talking about this day. I've seen graphics. This is a first take freak out, right? Because they already have a Lakers poll up. LeBron on the Lakers. Can they beat the Warriors? 39% of you say yes. I was interested. I was clicking on all this stuff. But we know what he was doing. There's this thing that happens with older players that are the great ones, the great players in their sport. And Kobe did this a little bit too, where he felt the need to just all of a sudden be an old guy. You know, he just wanted to be old. He wanted to start going, well, you know, these knees, we'll see if they work. You know, I got to make sure I talk to this guy. And then everybody starts kind of laughing at your jokes and that whole deal. Like all of a sudden you are the old guy at the barbershop and you almost like want to be that guy. And I'm not saying LeBron is there yet because he's still just too awesome of a player, but he feels the need. He almost feels it's part of his responsibility as the best player in the league, the best player in the world, to go up and talk to these dudes. And it could have been a bunch of different things. It probably wasn't about the Jedi movie, but, you know, hey, man, keep doing your thing. Don't worry about all the haters. Everybody's got something to say. Everybody, you know, look, man, don't worry. You know, you keep doing your thing. You know, be aggressive. Rebounds, assists. Remember when we used to have that thing with Jordan when he was talking to like a very young Melo because Melo was the man for the Jordan brand? And Jordan be sitting there, I tell him all the time, rebounds, assists. You can get points, but rebounds, assists. Like that's all really this stuff was. Do you honestly think that this means, hey man, I'm probably going to sign with the Lakers and I wanted to wait until after the game was over tonight to see how you looked and I like your rotations and, you know, maybe you guys move on from Randall and get Clarkson out of there. I'm in. Of course not. And if it was going to be so private and it was so important, he probably wouldn't have done it in front of 18,000 people inside of an arena. It was a moment where James allows himself to look, because I don't think that it's malicious. I don't think he's misleading here, but he wants us to see him showing a younger dude, hey, you know what? Proud of you. Keep doing your thing. Boom, boom, boom. And LeBron likes this stuff. LeBron, again, asked more about Lonzo and the whole deal.
I don't see the reaction because I don't get involved in it.
You see it all, dude. You see it all.
Reaction. I do it because he's said over and over since he was growing up and who he modeled his game after, and who was his favorite player, and it was me, and I was humbled by that. So me wishing him a happy birthday was kind of the salute back to him. You know, I see all the, you know, the stupid noise that happens, and you know, I can't buy a place in LA. I can't live in LA. You know, it's funny noise, and but I don't get involved in it because when I post things, I don't look at comments. I'm so far removed of you know, the white noise and the noise that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, all right, but that's another thing that you do too when you're famous. You're like, oh, I never pay attention to that white noise. It doesn't matter. He checks out all that stuff too. Who is he kidding? Because he talks about his use or non-use of social media when he goes 0 dark 2330 or 0 dark 3023. I always get confused on that. Russillo Show, it's ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. You can save hundreds on your car, business, or recreational vehicle insurance from a local independent agent. Go to Progressive.com today. Now that's Progressive. The point of this whole thing is that it's a general point. Him talking to Lonzo is nothing more than what I've already explained it to you as. Okay? It doesn't mean he's now more likely to go to the Lakers. And I actually still think, as we talked with Woj yesterday, where Woj was like, you actually think his dad's a positive? If you did a pro-con list on LeBron going to the Lakers, he'd go, yeah, LeVar mouthing off all the time. Pro. No, that's not how that would work. But there are times where we use evidence of someone saying something about somebody else as a reason to bolster our argument. Kaepernick should have a job in the NFL. Okay? I believe that. I thought he would be with the team at some point. That's not what worked out. He should have a job. Tom Brady was asked about it with our great, great partners, so supportive, EEI up in Boston, where he was asked about Kaepernick, and what did you think Brady was going to say?
Colin Kaepernick, do you think he can play again in the NFL?
I sure hope so. You know, I've always watched him and admired him, the way that he's played. He, you know, was a great young quarterback. He came to our stadium and beat us and took his team to the Super Bowl in 2012. You know, he accomplished a lot in the pros as a player, and he's certainly qualified, and I hope he gets a shot.
I read an article about Kaepernick not having a job that cited that Brady quote as saying, look at Brady, he's the GOAT, and even he thinks Kaepernick should have a job. What did you think Brady was going to say? Romo was asked about Dak Prescott replacing him.
I'm not going to allow this situation to negatively affect Dak or this football team by becoming a constant distraction. I think Dak knows that I have his back, and I think I know that he has mine. Ultimately, it's about the team. It's what we've preached our entire lives.
I can't believe this guy benched. Like, I can't believe I got benched for this guy. Okay, Romo very clearly is saying so, but you would never go like, hey, even Romo thinks that he should have been benched for Dak. So the general point that I'm trying to make here is that there are all these examples of little things that we try to piece all of this information out of, and for the most part, it's the most obvious stuff. Clearly, LeBron, in that moment against the guy we've talked about all of the time, was going to take that moment to have the cameras on him, showing him mentoring a young rookie in Lonzo Ball who has to deal with a ton of stuff. And the conversation was irrelevant. It was predictable. And it doesn't mean anything about LeBron's future, much like whenever you listen to some of these other guys talk about things, they say the obvious thing. They say the easiest answer, the least offensive answer, and it doesn't actually strengthen your argument, especially if you think now this means LeBron's packing up and moving out west. Hit us up at Russillo Show, 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. There was something I clicked on as a white guy where I went, up, here we go. And I'll explain what that is next. It's ESPN Radio. I will come clean. For those that don't know, I'm white, and I think we should always talk about things with race to make sure we all know where we're coming from. And if we talked about the things in race that frustrate both sides, maybe we get along a little bit better. Or maybe, at times you feel like you should never, ever be frustrated ever as a white guy because you have the better deal, okay? But I think I like to be very honest, very open, very straightforward with you. And I saw a story the other day. And this is going to lead into the best potential head coaching gigs in the NFL, depending on who loses their job this offseason. But I saw a story, okay? And I saw the story where it said, the problem with Sashi Brown being fired. And I go, wait a minute. Sashi Brown of the Browns? Sashi Brown? The guy that went 1-27 as the GM of the Browns? Like, there's a story like, wait a minute, am I going to click on this? I am going to click on this, aren't I? Why am I going to click on this story? I already know. I know why he was fired. He went 1-27. Like, what's the argument that he should have kept his job as a general manager of a team that did this poorly and a lot of NFL people don't think has that great of a roster? You going to click on it? Like, okay, who printed it? Oh, it's the undefeated? Oh, and this is one where my white guy goes, oh, okay, what's this article going to say? And then I click on it, and I feel like, okay, am I falling for it? Am I doing exactly what they want? Because it is such a good headline. Like, what's the argument against Sashi Brown being fired? He went 1-27. And by the way, how come Paul DePodesta was like a big part of this front office, and now he doesn't get talked about that much anymore? Was that a clever move by him to kind of now focus the blame somewhere else? I don't know. Just asking for a friend. Because, you know how they get, like, Cerruti, you do this too, right? Like, there are certain things where you go, I can't imagine what the argument is. I can't imagine that I'm going to agree with this article. Is it going to be because, like, he was black that he got fired and this is this huge problem? And then am I going to read this and go, there's so many other important issues of race. Like, is this going to be one and I'm going to read this? Am I going to get madder? And then I go, you're clicking on it. You've been staring at the link. Like, there's another link that says what this new solar system means for the future of humankind. And I go, that seems like one I should click on. That's an important title. I'm going to click on this new solar system one. And then I click on the undefeated piece for Sashi Brown.
I get so mad about clickbait things that I will try. If it's something that I'm like genuinely interested in, but I'm like, I don't want to give them the satisfaction of getting my click, I will Google the topic or I will look on Twitter and see if anyone gave it away, just so I don't have to give them the satisfaction of being the click. Because every time you see a headline or something, it's clickbait and it's probably really stupid, but like you just can't let it go. So I try to find ways to get around actually giving them a click. That's how petty I am.
That's wow. I'm
borderline crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, but
I admit it.
Again, I'm almost impressed. You'll Google the article to avoid giving them the click that they want. And I'll admit, I'll get mad when I click. So I click on it. Why the Browns firing of Sashi Brown is a problem. The first sentence from Jason Reed says, quote, No credible argument can be made against the firing of Sashi Brown as Cleveland Browns Executive Vice President of Football Operations. I go, well, what am I going to read then? All right, so anyway, I read it, and the point is this, and it actually ended up being a good article, is that if we had 7 black general managers, decision makers, running rosters, which I think is a good number when you look at population numbers, and then it's all of a sudden 4 because we lose Sashi Brown, we lose Jerry Reese, we lose Whaley out of Buffalo going back a year. 7 to 4 is a problem. Let's see where that number goes. We needed to go back up, okay? We're all on the same page. So now I wasn't so mad at the article, even though I know when I clicked on it, I was like, what are we doing here? So now I get the point. But there's something else. There's another article that I clicked on that I thought made a point that I disagree with. And Barnwell, Bill Barnwell, one of our best football guys, put together on ESPN.com the 10 best landing spots for a head coach if these jobs became available. Because he didn't want to start doing this thing and saying, hey, here are the 10 coaches that are going to lose their jobs. But in kind of a loose definition of, could the Texans be looking for somebody new? Could Cincinnati be looking for somebody new? So he put together 10 teams. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. The Russillo Show on ESPN Radio. He has the Houston Texans as the number 1 destination. And, you know, I guess I could run through these teams. Let me just do it real quick, okay? At number 10, so this is worst spot to best spot for a head coach if you were, look, you had the opportunity to take over one of these teams. Arizona, roster uncertainty, all that stuff, old quarterback. Tampa at 9. You would have thought Tampa would be a lot higher with Winston, but that's kind of the problem. Winston. 8 is Cincinnati. 7 is Washington. I don't know. Would they really get rid of Gruden? But again, it's Snyder. Who knows? Number 6 is Denver. Number 5 is the Colts. Number 4 is the Giants. Number 3 is the Bears. And just behind the Houston Texans is the number 1 best spot because of Deshaun Watson. He has the Cleveland Browns. No bleeping way. No way. I don't care what their fake cap space is because everybody has this cap space in this thing that we don't talk about in the NFL at all because I don't know that anybody understands it. But the way you can carry over cap space now in this league, like you can find ways to have astronomical, never-before-seen cap space, and then you don't even have to use it all. I know they're projected to have the 1st and the 6th pick, and 6 picks in the top 25. This is the Browns have cap space, the Browns have a lot of picks, therefore the Browns is a good job. There's no way, I don't care if they had 3 of the top 6 picks, you would go the Browns history, that ownership, you would take that over Andrew Luck or even the Giants or the Broncos. Like you just wouldn't. I don't know what the quarterback situation is going to be with the Broncos. I understand Luck could be damaged goods. I get that Eli might not even be there. There's a franchise element to this where you go, there's no way I would want to go to Cleveland over those other spots. Speaking of history and how we love patience, I'm going to give you some patience right here. Cincinnati, I had to reread it a couple times, and you kind of know this number, and then I'm just going to hit you in the head with it one more time, unless you're a Bengals fan and you just already knew this. But Marvin Lewis has been on the job now. Who knows if he would even lose his job, even though they're bad. He's had the job 14 years without a playoff victory, and that's after Bruce Coslett made it to a 5th year, going 21-39, and that's after he replaced Shula, who went 19-52. That is patience. Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. The sit down, Carlos Boozer rented his house to Prince. Prince trashed it, sort of, and Boozer was going to sue him until they figured something out. That story next. The Russillo Show, ESPN Radio.
He was nominated for 38 Grammy Awards and had 5 Billboard #1 hits. And he was a heralded 5'2", 6th man in Minnesota high school hoops.
He's a short guy, but he actually had a really good jump shot.
But you probably didn't know he spent $95,000 a month renting an NBA player's house in Bel Air and ruined it.
He took out all the furniture, including the carpets, and put them in storage. And then he redecorated the house with his stuff. Carpets, beds, furniture, massage tables, disco balls, the whole 9.
It's The Sit Down with former NBA All-Star Carlos Boozer on being Prince's landlord.
So Prince wants to rent your house, Boozer. Tell me about the start of that. Like, I know you didn't really want to rent it. How did this whole thing start off?
Yeah, I just bought my house, my first house in LA. It was massive, like 18,000 square feet in Bel Air and Beverly Hills and Bel Air. And I get a call from my real estate agent, and she's like, "Hey, I know you're going to Utah for the season. I'm getting a lot of calls about renting your house." And I was like, "Nah, I haven't even lived there. I haven't spent one night there. I'm not renting my house out." So she goes, "Okay." About a month goes by, and she gets a phone call from a very persistent person. And goes, "Hey, my client has been to this house before when it was with the previous owner. He loves this house and he wants to rent it out for a year for $95,000 a month." So my realtor calls me. She can't not present this offer to me. And I said, $95,000 a month? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be in Utah for about 7-8 months. Playoffs. Maybe we do well and make it to the finals or whatever. We can rent it out, no problem, right? It ends up being Prince. And obviously, plenty of music from him. My parents are huge fans. I became a fan as I got older. I watched Purple Rain and a couple of movies. So I was like, this is awesome. I'm gonna fly out there for the signing. So I fly out to LA. It's a short flight from Utah. Coming to the house, and he's a huge basketball fan, as you guys probably already know. Huge basketball fan. Followed my career a little bit, and thought we had a decent team in Utah. And anyway, the house had a basketball court on the roof. And so we went up there and we shot for like half an hour. And he's a short guy, but he actually had a really good jump shot.
So wait a minute, he's coming to check out the house and you want to meet him because he's renting your house and you guys are shooting around.
Yeah, obviously I'm showing him the house. He already seen it before because the previous owner was like a part owner of Interscope Records or something like that.
Okay.
So he had been there before for some gatherings, and so he goes like, "Can we go up to the court?" And I go, "Yeah." So he goes upstairs, and he starts dribbling the ball around. He starts shooting a little bit. We're shooting the breeze, talking about Michael Jordan and Kobe. Is Kobe way better than Michael Jordan? Blah blah blah. Because he's a crazy Jordan fan, but he also respected Kobe a great deal. And he rents the crib out. Let me get to the juicy part of the story. So that year, I had tore my hamstring up pretty bad. I tore it like 2 or 3 times in a row over like a 2 or 3 month period. And so one of the best physical therapists, his name is Judicito, who lives out in L.A. So I'm coming to L.A. to go see Judicito to work on my hamstring and see if I can get right so I can get ready for the playoffs or what have you. And I'm calling Prince now because he's not picking up his phone. And I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to stop by the house. If you need anything, let me know, blah, blah, blah." Don't hear from him. I come up to the house, and I don't recognize the gate. The gate was like a 12-foot gate. It had 2 gold lions on it when I bought the house. When I got there, there was this like symbol, which I wasn't very familiar with. There was a symbol on the gate. And I'm like, "If I come to the right address, this is my house, right?" So I'm driving up and down the street like, where's my house at? And so I realized this is the house, and my gate has been changed. So I put the code in, the code works. I go in the driveway, and as I'm driving up the driveway, everything is painted. It was like a creamy kind of Italian cream kind of color. The whole outdoor was painted purple. And I'm like, what? I'm getting like, as I'm driving up the driveway, I'm getting more and more like upset. So I get to the stair. I had a really like gigantic staircase, like leading up to the front doors. And there's this huge purple rug that goes over this Italian marble floors. And it's his symbol, which I didn't know was his symbol until that day. I just known him as Prince, and now I realize that he's a symbol now.
Yeah, he changed his name to a symbol, right?
I had no idea any of that. So, but I learned that day. And the whole rug is. I go inside the house. He rips out all the carpet. The whole carpet is black carpet. Everything in the house is purple. He has a purple bed. He has purple sheets. Took my couches out. The couches were black and purple. He changed one room. There was 10 bedrooms in the house. He changed one room into a salon, like a hair salon.
Like a full-time hair salon.
Full-time hair salon, like what you would see, your wife or your girlfriend go to. Absolutely. And
how mad are you?
I was furious because it's something that we never talked about. So I'm really upset. Like, what happened to my house? My house got demolished. You can imagine, like, you go into your crib just to, stop by and see anything, maybe pick up some stuff or whatever. And it's literally not your crib anymore. So I'm walking around. we're going to have a debate about this one sir, in a second. But I'm walking around the house, and there's more changes. So I had an awesome weight room. We turned the weight room into a nightclub with a disco ball, which actually I thought was pretty cool, to be honest. I never saw that before in the house, so I thought it was pretty awesome. But, yeah, he just basically changed the whole house. He basically what he did was he stored all my stuff, furniture, everything, put it in storage, and he brought all of his stuff into the house. So let me just tell you how wealthy Prince was. May he rest in peace. He rented my house out for almost $1 million for the year. He took out all of them. I had a 18,000 square foot home that was fully furnished, 10 bedrooms, a guest house, the whole nine, 2 or 3 living rooms. He took out all the furniture, including the carpets, by the way, and put them in storage. And then he redecorated the house with his stuff. Carpets, beds, furniture, massage tables, disco balls, the whole nine, and puts it in storage. So I'm calling him like P. I said, Prince, listen, man, like I'm really upset. Like I'm bothered. I can't get a hold of you. Like
you're leaving him messages.
I'm leaving a message on the phone that I had for him. I'm sure he had multiple phones or whatever. But I come to find out, I'm getting ready to sue him because I can't get a hold of him. This guy's like turned my house into something else that I wasn't comfortable with, and I'm getting ready to sue him. And I get a phone call from some other number, and it's him. And he's like, "Hey," he goes, "Hey, Booze, I'm in Asia touring." And I didn't even know this. I'm in Asia touring, and the album, he had an album called 3121, and he rented my house out to get inspiration. So he filmed the whole, if you look at the CD cover for that 3121 album, it's my house. The whole thing is my house. Anyway, he was on tour in Japan. He calls me. He goes, "Hey, I got your message, man. I've been traveling and doing my thing." And he goes, "Don't worry. The house will be exactly how it was before I moved in when you get the keys back at the end of my lease." He goes, I'm gonna wire you $500,000, keep it in your account, and then when you come check on the property after I move out, you can wire me the money back just to make you feel better. And I'm like, okay, I trust his word. He's Prince.
What did he sound like on the phone? Was he funny? Was he like soft spoken?
He was well in this moment, because this is the only conversation we had over the phone. He was very calm. Like he was like, "Look, don't worry. I know the house doesn't look like, your house, but he wanted the house to feel like it was his. And so when his guests came over, they felt like it was his house. And I get that, $95,000 a month. I mean, really, you should be able to do whatever you want to the house. But also, as the owner of the property, you should at least give me a heads up that you're going to make let me know you're going to make some changes to the crib." But he was very calm, and he was he was having a good time. I mean, I heard a lot of people around him. He might have called me from after party or something. But long story short is when he moved out, it was like he was never there. Everything, the theater room was back in place, the weight room was back in place. There was no massage tables. I could have kept the massage tables. There was no hair salon. All my carpet was back in. It was like he was never there. Like if I had never hurt my hamstring, I would never have seen it that he had changed everything into purple. So. May he rest in peace, but he was great, man. I caught up with him a couple times later in New York at a couple of restaurants. The last time I saw him was at All-Star Weekend in New York a couple of years ago. He had performed at the Jordan party. It was like the 30-year anniversary for MJ, or maybe longer than that, 30-year anniversary for MJ, and he performed at that party. So,
wow, it all worked out.
He was a good dude, man.
Yeah,
it all worked out. He was a good dude. Loved basketball. And once upon a time, he rented my house.
That's amazing. I'm going to look at that CD now. I'm going to check that out. Hey, Booze, I really appreciate it, man. That's a great story, and I'm glad we could share it with everybody.
Absolutely. My pleasure, man. Anytime.
That's Carlos Boozer. I know everybody wanted me to ask him about what he did with his hair with the Bulls years ago, but maybe we'll do that in the sit-down part 2. You can go ahead and subscribe to the Russillo Show podcast if you caught the end of that and catch the beginning. Okay, up next, I want to take maybe 1 or 2 phone calls from anyone that listens to the show or listens to sports talk radio, but for the most part, you're not that impressed with us. That you're just like, yeah, I listen, but none of you guys are that great. None of you are that smart. I mean, I'm not like, there's one guy maybe I like. I'm not even talking about me. Like, I'm not looking for praise here because it has something to do with something that's happening in my life that I think like it's going on today, and I go, this is something that used to inspire me. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. The Russillo Show next on ESPN Radio. I do want to acknowledge something that started my journey. I would say, well, I've been doing this now 15 years, almost 12 at ESPN. And Francesa, Mike Francesa at the Fan in New York, is finishing off 30 years. And a lot of guys are talking about it in my business. And you've probably, I think the sad thing about some of the way you guys, who listen to sports radio all the time, like you may know Francesa is the dude that other shows make fun of, which wouldn't be inaccurate at times in some of the stuff that's clipped up and sent out on Twitter. But he's also somebody in the beginning of this whole deal, like he was the man, he and Mad Dog. And I was lucky enough at the Greenwich Film Festival with Connor Schell's group, 30 for 30, and a bunch of different people on the panel to host the panel for the Mike and the Mad Dog 30 for 30. And it was really ironic for me because I grew up, even though I was a huge Boston sports fan, I grew up listening to Mike and the Dog. And, my father, construction, would be outside. We would listen to them nonstop. And that's kind of how I started doing this. This was not, I wasn't going to college saying when I get out of college, I'm going to be a sports talk show host. It's sort of what happened in the path of trying a few different things. And I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky to have been able to do this long and to actually get to ESPN and I have my name on a show and that whole deal. Like, it's incredible when I kind of sit back and think about it at times. But I also remember the reason I did this is because I listen to Francesa and the Dog, and I sit and listen to these guys argue, and I go, I can't believe people actually do this. But I'll also admit there's part of me that sees the end of Francesa going, is that the end for everybody that does these sports talk shows? Where you go, are you just like over it a little bit? Are you older and everything annoys you? And then I think, what if I lived in New York and I took callers from New York City or any place? I could have done it in Boston for 30 years. Like, wouldn't it be human nature where you would eventually be annoyed by everyone? Because that's how the show seems at times. Where you go, what are we doing? Like, somebody calls in and says, hey, can we get Stanton for Castro and a couple lower level prospects? And you have to tell that Yankees fan he's an idiot because that would never happen. So it just always makes me think of this job and how many people would go, yeah, Russillo's all right. He's got a deep voice and all, but a monkey could do what he does. So let's find out. It's Eric in Virginia. Eric, what's your general take on us talk show hosts that do this for a living?
Yeah, at the end of the day, man, I listen to the show. Love you guys, SVP back in the day, but I mean, I'm in sales. I sit in the car all day anyway. I'm listening to you guys. What I learn from ESPN.com. What am I getting from you guys is different.
Yeah, so would you say you're generally unimpressed with all of us collectively?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Levitard mentioned it earlier. What is the difference? Not really much news.
Noted. All right, let's go to Jim in Philly. Jim, your general thought on all of us that do this for a living?
It's too many people who generally don't seem like they care about sports anymore. Just about the problems in sports that are never going to be fixed.
Jim,
like the CTE thing.
Jim, do you think I care about sports?
Yes, you do.
Because I do, Jim. I try to.
No, I agree with you, but there's a lot of people out there. When you watch most shows, it's about race, CTE.
We're in agreement, man. I've already done that rant. I've done that rant where I think it's...
have you?
Yeah, I did a rant where I go, I don't know how many of my... Like, sometimes I wonder how many people I work with. Like, do you actually still have favorite teams and love sports? I may not even have favorite teams all the time, but it's that I still... Like, I'm watching the Mavs and Warriors last night because I like basketball. But I'd listen to Francesa towards the end and be like, is he just hate everybody that calls the show? But how could you kind of not? Right? And I think that's what happens. Like, I have a buddy who was a writer, a guy named Bill Callahan. Well, he's still a writer now. He's a great writer out in L.A., and he wrote for Spin City. And when I first started talking about writing for Spin City, I started suggesting roles that Michael J. Fox could play on the show. And I say, oh, yeah, you should do this with him. And he's going, yeah, no, good one. And he's dismissing it immediately. You want to know why? Because he's the writer. And I was just the moron being like, hey, here's an idea. And I think what happens is when you sit here long enough, you can have these moments where you go, no one knows sports as well as I do. And that's not really the case, but you start to feel that way. So anyway, man, 30 years, he was an inspiration, and that's a hell of a run. We got Vilma coming up with Wilfork, Jalen Rose, Woody. It's going to be awesome, 2 hours. Buying tickets to sports and concerts can be complicated and confusing, but there's a better way to buy with SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the smartest, easiest way to get tickets to every type of live event. Whether you're searching for a last-minute deal, planning a night out, or need to find the perfect gift, SeatGeek helps you find the best seats at the best prices. Fully guaranteed. There's nothing quite like seeing your favorite team or musician in person, and SeatGeek will get you closer to the action for a great value. I have the SeatGeek app on my phone. It's by far the easiest way I've found to shop for tickets. I can be anywhere, and just a few taps, I can instantly find seats. I actually just used SeatGeek to buy tickets for my friends to the Broncos game while I was back on the East Coast. SeatGeek is designed to make your ticket buying experience easier than ever. And to get you the most bang for your buck, SeatGeek grades every ticket based on value to help you immediately identify the best seats that fit your budget. Plus, every purchase is fully guaranteed, so you can shop for tickets on SeatGeek with confidence. And best of all, my listeners get $20 off their first SeatGeek purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app, enter the promo code Russillo today. That's promo code Russillo for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase.
Guys, wouldn't your wife or girlfriend love it if you treated her to the very best this Christmas? Now you can, with the world's softest pajamas by Pajamagram. Created by a team of pajama experts, the world's softest PJs are lighter than a cloud, softer than a bunny, like cashmere, only better. She'll love how heavenly they feel. Includes free gift packaging and Christmas delivery is guaranteed. So visit pajamagram.com or call 1-800-GIVE-PJs.
Vilma's here. First thing he does, he goes, "What did you do last week? What did you do? Where are we at record-wise?" And I went 4-1, so we're close. We're close on this deal, but we're going to have to have another perfect week again.
We're not really. You're 4 under 500.
And you're 500.
I'm 1 up.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's what I said. I just have to have another great week, and you have a bad one, and then it's going to turn like that.
It's not possible.
I'm a closer.
No, what I would do is just copy your pick, so there's no way I can lose.
But then I'll wait until you leave, and then I'll go back. I'll come back and change them on you. So that means 2 hours of Jonathan Vilma already giving me a hard time.
Yes.
We got Vince Wilfork calling into the show. We have Jalen Rose calling into the show. We have Damien Woody in studio, so you and him can do, like, instead of the linebacker, what were you guys doing? It like backer chapter? Or what were you guys calling it? You and Bruce?
Backer chapter. I mean, you just made it sound so cheesy and corny.
Yeah,
man.
but I think you said it, man. So that's not my fault.
I did not say backer chapter. I did not.
What did you and Bruce?
I don't know what we called it. It was good.
You said it something like it was back or something.
Back or something. I don't know what we called it. But Woody, I saw him Wednesday wearing an ugly Boston College sweater. So we're definitely going to have to talk about that. I know he's a Boston College guy, but ew. God.
Yeah, don't you? Come on. Can't you guys let anything rest down in Miami?
No.
Like he's wearing a BC sweatshirt.
No.
He feels good about his Eagles.
No, listen. You know what always bothers me?
Obviously a lot.
Well, aside from everything. The Boston College thing that bothers me.
Yeah.
Anytime you pull up anything good about Boston College, anybody ever mentions anything good about Boston College, what do they say? You already know what I'm going to say. What do they talk about?
Probably the lacrosse team.
Yeah,
no,
right.
Flutie to Phelan.
Exactly. And who was that on? Miami. And
that's right.
It's like, yeah, stop it. It's like 32 years
by the way,
old, by the way.
Back, folks.
Almost. Got killed by Clemson. Almost.
Wait, I mean, are you serious? We made like 3 movies about you guys. We like the 30 for 30 series could be brought to you by the U. You guys are on nonstop again. Like every time I turn my TV back on, I see you guys. I'm so sick of all of you dudes.
Why are you sick of us?
Because it's always the same stuff. Like if you guys can brag about all the crap that you did and all the stuff that was in the gray areas and that you were the outlaws and that you were thugs, and then as soon as anybody else says that you were a thug, then we're all jerks and we're racist and we don't get it. Like you guys are so
wait a minute.
Like you don't care if you embrace all of it. I'm hot. No, I'm ready to go, Vilma. You come in here, you start pushing me around. No way. I'm pushing Russillo.
Folks.
Where did this come from, Ryan?
Because I saw you last night in the You Invented Swagger t-shirt with the big chain on, talking about one of your teammates accused the state of Florida of tearing down the Orange Bowl to erase the memory of Hurricane football.
That could possibly be true.
Or to increase revenues in a new stadium.
That could possibly be true.
I don't even know what we were starting the show with today.
I don't know. Cerruti, what did I get into? Like, what's going on?
Is this months of pent-up aggression
Clearly,
against Vilma?
I was just annoyed that anytime you think of Boston College and football, you hear of the Flutie Hail Mary, and then Miami's associated with that. That's where I was coming
think
from.
Historically, you guys are up on BC. I'm not a researcher by trade,
saying,
but I think you got him.
I would just like that they would let that highlight die. That's all. That's it. Just let
you
that
have
highlight
so many
die.
other highlights.
That's fine. Just let that one die. 32 years. Just let it die. Let it go. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
It's just, come on, man. What else is BC going to run? Beer Brom highlights?
Lacrosse.
They're
really good at lacrosse.
They did beat UNC that year. I don't know if Serge Zwicker was on that team. It may have been Montrose.
See?
All right. I promise we won't do any Flutie stuff today on the show.
We weren't going to do anything regardless.
I'm sorry about my U rant.
It's okay. You know what? I like it. You are not the first to go on a U rant in front of me and vent your displaced anger. That's all. That's all it really is.
No, it's not displaced. It's just
it's very displaced.
I feel like the movies about the U, although very good, and I like
and
mostly,
very true
and very true.
Okay.
It's kind of one of those deals where it's like you can't do that to our pledges. Only we can do that to our pledges.
You can do it. We enjoyed it.
I just did it. Le Batard and I have argued about it a lot in the past. So that's all. I think we can move past it. Is there anything you would like to do, Vilma? Do you have notes?
I do have notes.
I saw you just broke out.
Yeah, you saw me break out my notes.
We've got like 2 minutes here in the segment. We do little hoops.
I'm just saying, I actually do work and research. You know,
what are Vilma's notes for Friday's show?
I do work. I do research. I do watch film and stuff. So, you know, when people are like, oh, what is this guy talking about? I actually know what I'm talking about. No, I know you do.
You asked a question at the talent meeting on Wednesday. That surprised a bunch of us.
Yeah. And I got flack from Ryan Clark because he was like, you can't ask questions at the talent meeting. That's like an assembly. You can't ask questions. I was like, dude, this is serious stuff. I need to know. Okay,
for those that don't understand, on Wednesday, every single talent, everybody that talks on the air,
all
or
500
in print,
of us,
seriously, like 500 people, we were told numerous times the greatest collection of talent ever, and we're not even talking about the Warriors. And it was impressive. It was kind of fun. I actually thought they did a great job with it. But Vilma, like if there were odds on who was going to ask a question to like look good in front of the company,
I was not trying to look good. not at all. You know where it stemmed from?
We turned around and we're like, wait a minute, is that Vilma asking the first question in an assembly of 5? So Ryan Clark told you not to ask the question after you did it.
After I did it, he said I should not have done that. I 100% disagree with him, and we got into a debate about that because I said, well, remember the topics, and one of the topics was politics, and not to bring politics into ESPN.
Yeah, we're trying.
We're trying not to, right? And the interesting thing is that I agree with it because I was like, you know what? When I was a kid, when I was younger, teenager, I watched ESPN to watch sports and get away from whatever else is going on outside the world. You had a bad day, whatever's going on, right?
Yeah, like Dukakis.
Right. So then, of course, we had some political movements and things transpire. Somebody became president. And then, you know, he started bringing, I'm just saying, he started bringing sports and politics together.
So you had actually a great question. It was a great question.
Yeah. So my question was, if a high political figure starts to bring sports into politics and then forces us to respond or defend ourselves, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. What's up now?
How should we proceed?
And guess what?
They said we can go. It's, what do you say? It's fair game after that point.
Once they brought it up, whoever that could be.
Yeah. Skipper said it is fair game. And I said, good. So, because I would hate to be, I'm not even one of the people on, you know, like a Stuart Scott or, you know, I'm not one of those guys, but I would hate to be, you know, let's just say it's, I don't know, give me any one of the shows on ESPN. We'll just take First Take. All right.
Okay, First Take, right.
So First Take, I would hate to be on First Take and Donald Trump says something related to sports or whatever it is, obviously something controversial, and then you're not allowed to talk about it, or you're not allowed to discuss it, or you're not allowed to at least combat it.
Yeah, all right. No, the question made a lot of sense. I felt like after that, I was like, man, Vilma looked really smart with that one. And then you were wondering, would somebody else raise their hand and go like, how are the day-to-day operations day-to-day? You know, and they would go, we just spent 2 hours on that. All right. So, hey, we got Jalen. Let's talk with Jalen about all the hoop stuff. We've got Woody. We've got your guy, Vince Wilfork. Are you close with him?
Yeah, that's my boy.
That's your guy, right?
That's my guy.
Was he a year older than you on that ridiculous Miami team? Same
we came
class?
in same class. Okay. He came in the spring, but same class. That's my guy.
Okay. This is going to be fun today. We got Jonathan Vilma for the next 2 hours. The Russillo Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I've never felt more alive.
Disclaimer. Geico cannot guarantee you will feel more alive. You either possess functioning respiratory and circulatory systems, or you do not, or you are a zombie. If you are indeed a brain-starved zombie and you would like to save money on car insurance, the Geico legal team applauds your excellent life choices, even in your shambling afterlife. But we strongly encourage you to visit geico.com or download the Geico app. Please stay a minimum of 500 feet away from our large and presumably delicious, delicious brains.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Russillo Show, ESPN Radio, waiting on Jalen Rose here to grab him, talk some hoops. Did you watch last night's game, or are you traveling?
Traveling.
Yeah, right. So everybody is obsessed with this LeBron James Lonzo deal, where after the game, Cavs beat him. Not a huge shock,
right?
But there was
LeBron had a triple-double.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was awesome again.
Yeah,
so they discovered audio of what was actually said, and shockingly, LeBron didn't say, hey, I'm going to sign with the Lakers this offseason. The audio, although a little dicey, says that he's basically telling the rookie to find his zone, quote, stay locked in, keep his words private and out of the media, saying it was just white noise. A user on Reddit basically got the transcript and heard it through a different foreign language. I mean, this stuff's nuts that they're out there. So it's exactly the whole kind of, not empty praise, but just what you would expect it to be. Like, hey, man, young buck, keep your head up, keep fighting, keep grinding, on the grind, 247, whatever.
Right. I'm just amazed that there are so many people that really believe that if some secret deal is going to go down with LeBron James, who's a, 14-year NBA veteran now, that he's going to pick the most exposed time right after a game, all the cameras on, smartphones out, everything, to sit there and dish out his secrets of the future. Like, come on, guys. What are we really talking about? And the fact that people really said, you know what, I need to know, not like, I wonder what he said. I need to know what he told Ball. Why? Because I'm pretty sure he has a phone. Ball has a phone. And
they both have phones.
They really want to get some information across, I'm pretty sure they can text.
Okay, what was your routine when you guys finished off a game in the NFL? Who would you go find? All the guys from the U?
I would go find the guys from the U, the guys I respected, and or coach that I've either coached with, coached under, or respected.
Did an older player ever come over to you in the beginning of your career that you still remember now and like that meant a lot to you?
Not from the U. I had.
Can you respect anyone not from the U?
Can I not respect or can I respect?
No, was there any I don't know. Is there a great story in there? Is there a great story about a guy who came over to you and you were like, damn, that's awesome?
You know what was awesome? When I went up against Marshall Faulk and Emmitt Smith, my rookie year, and I remember going up against Marshall Faulk, St. Louis, and
they were.
Yeah, well, they were
towards
just
the end, right?
Towards the end of the greatest show on turf. Matter of fact, Steven Jackson they were splitting time, but
Steven Jackson was fun to tackle, huh?
No, not at all. But watching Marshall Faulk, right? Then I'm like, man, wow, I'm playing against him. I had to cover him one-on-one. And in that game, just so happened, I ended up getting an interception, returning for a touchdown.
Who was the pass to?
No, it was a tip pass. I took it back, but I made a move on Marshall Faulk down the sideline. So afterwards, I scored. I didn't think about it until after the game. And I was like, wow. Oh my God, that was Marshall Faulk. So Marshall Faulk comes up to me afterwards. And he's like, hey man, you do a great job. Keep doing your thing, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, you got to play it cool. Like, oh yeah, thanks, Marshall. First name basis. Thanks, Marshall. It's all good. And then,
wait, do you think Faulk really wanted to try to tackle you?
Don't put shade on,
I'm not
on my story. Okay.
Only trying.
Don't rain on my parade. I do believe that he wanted to tackle me. I do believe I made an awesome move.
I can't wait to find this video.
So afterwards, I'm on the bus. We lost, and I was ticked off. But on the bus, I was like, "Wow!" I called my dad, and I was like, "Wow, Marshall Faulk just, he knows who I am. Like, I'm pretty cool." Same thing happened with Emmitt Smith. That was when he went to Arizona, and we went out there, played Arizona. Same thing happened, And, that's when I was feeling myself a little bit there. I thought I was pretty good. You see the move? Did you see it?
No, I'm trying to find it.
You didn't see it
yet? Saints Rams.
This is 2004. Saints Rams 2004 in St. Louis. And this might have been like third quarter, if I remember correctly.
Did you ever pick off Favre?
I picked off Favre twice.
Yeah, because there's one page that says the 10 worst interceptions of Brett Favre's career.
2 of them were to me?
No, I'm trying to figure out now if they're.
I was going to say, is it the worst because of me, or is it the bad decision?
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, this is. They're saying this one, NFC Championship game.
That's
That's against the Saints.
So that one, I made a check to get out of a defense to get the interception.
So here it goes. Favre started the Vikings in their own 10-yard line, drove down to the New Orleans 34, and second down, Favre operating out of shotgun threw a pass intended for Sidney Rice. There you go, Carolina. But it was intercepted by Saints linebacker Jonathan Vilma.
Yes.
So what was the score? Do you remember?
That one?
Yeah. Was it
at the time? No, I don't remember the score.
Was that when you guys were accused of manslaughter against him, or was that?
Yeah, probably.
It was that game. It was
no. It was all the games were accused of manslaughter. So
yeah, but there was that one Favre game during Bountygate where I swear I just watched just a rip of you attacking him like zombies in The Walking Dead. It felt like and there was no flag thrown in that game either.
There was no flag thrown in that game, and that was the biggest game at the time, the biggest game of my life, the biggest game of all of our lives. None of us had ever been to a Super Bowl before that. I think we had Heath Evans, who was on IR at the time. He had been a part of a Super Bowl, but to my recollection, nobody on our team had been to a Super Bowl. That was the game, the biggest game.
I can't find the video. I'm gonna have to go ahead.
What do you mean?
You know, I'm not great at the videos at the last minute here. I was hoping the staff. Jalen, apparently we're gonna try to do that at 2. We got the hands up. What are you doing tonight for a workout?
Okay. I switched to now sets of 8, more high intensity. On the treadmill, I'm gonna go for 3 minutes, nonstop, minute break, then 2.5 minutes nonstop, minute break, 2 minutes, minute break, 1.5 minutes nonstop, a minute break, and a minute. I'm going to do that at a speed of between 8.5 and 9 miles, and that'll be my distance cardio, and then I'll go in and get sets of 8 on squats. Am I doing step-ups? Yeah, squats, step-ups, a little back work, shoulder work. So
I can't wait.
The point is that, it's kind of, we call it shocking the system. So I've been doing sets of 4, sets of 3, took a little break, and then now go to sets of 8 and build back that muscle endurance before I go and start to push the volume again.
I just wish you posted all this on Instagram. Tweet the show through 1-800-Flowers.com, Twitter feed @Russillo Show. Don't stress over the holidays. 1-800-Flowers.com makes it easy to find great holiday presents for great prices, like up to 40% off of best-selling bouquets, arrangements, and holiday goodies. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. Jalen, maybe, or we pick Steelers Pats.
Okay, let's pick Steelers Pats.
All right.
Who do you have?
That's next, dude. That's the whole point of the tease. It's ESPN Radio.
Sunday's game will likely determine home field advantage and the number 1 AFC seed.
It's good to be in big games. It's better to be in big games than ones that nobody's watching.
One point that Bill Belichick stressed was how Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown account for 2/3 of the Steelers' offense.
New England has had their way with Pittsburgh in their last 4 meetings. Patriots are 4-0.
Patriots get a boost with the return of tight end Rob Gronkowski, who's back with the team after serving his 1-week NFL suspension.
To be in these type games against these type people is an awesome thing.
Always happy on a Friday to have Jonathan Vilma with us. Jalen may not be joining us. That doesn't mean we don't still have stuff planned. Vince Wilfork, Damien, Woody. But want to remind everybody, as you heard that lead in, Pats, Steelers, the push for the playoffs has begun. Tune in for a Sunday football doubleheader. We get the Jets visiting the Saints, and the Steelers host the Patriots. Pregame begins at noon Eastern on most ESPN radio stations. You root for the Saints, right, against the Jets?
I root for the Saints against the Jets, yes.
Just wanted that on the record.
Oh, yeah, that's I thought that would be known.
Yeah, I think everybody, I knew that. That's why I wasn't asking like I already knew the answer.
No, had really good times with the Jets. I love the fans. The fans were awesome. But, just the way it ended, And frankly, I don't have hard feelings because if it didn't end that way, I would have never gone to New Orleans and won a Super Bowl. So, it's good. But I had my best moments in my career were with the Saints.
As fans of the NFL, we watch things and we see versions of these teams that they can be vastly different week to week. The most consistent team in the NFL right now, Cleveland Browns. Okay. So, that's
because we're talking about the bar.
Yeah, but I know what to expect. I go, yep, that looks a lot like last week. So, New England can have these stretches where they've been the worst defense in the NFL to start the season.
Yeah.
It looked like they fixed some of their things. Yardage-wise, they're still a mess. Metric-wise, they're still a mess, but they're actually still top 5 in points that are actually allowed. So they go into
It's
a
all
Pittsburgh
that matters,
team.
Ryan.
Yeah.
All that matters.
You're right. It kind of is all that matters, even though you can watch it and go, man, they give up a lot of big plays. And you go, okay, it's 18 points again, whatever.
That's right.
So who are you picking with them going into Pittsburgh? New England's still favored in this game, by the way, by field goal here.
Yeah, I'm taking Pittsburgh. I would not be surprised if the Patriots won 4-0 in the last 4 games. But I think the perception right now is that Pittsburgh is not as good. But when you look at their last 3 games, it's because they've had these come from behind victories and they've given up a lot of points. So everyone's looking at, prior to that Dolphins loss, the Patriots were ripping off victories. They were blowouts versus, Oakland, Dolphins, Buffalo. Blowout. So you say, oh, Patriots are back. And that stigma, deservedly so, is in your head from all the success they've had over the years. So when you look at Pittsburgh, you say,
how does you help but, feel that way?
Yeah, exactly. And then they lose to Dolphins, so now everyone says, well, here's that added intangible, like, oh, no, the Patriots lost, they're definitely going to win now. They're going to come back angry and et cetera, et cetera. So I see why everyone is leaning towards the Patriots, but I think Pittsburgh is a good enough team. They're well-balanced. They obviously can put up points to win that game.
Okay, so when I watch New England go up against Denver, you go, okay, the history for Denver isn't that great. And there is, as much as it is this week, who is playing, who is on the roster, there does seem to be certain franchises that have problems with other franchises. And Pittsburgh has a problem with New England.
Yeah.
And I don't know, can New England, really I should put it this way, is Pittsburgh all of a sudden going to be some different defensive thing? Are they going to see something with the way Miami goes? We're going to be single coverage. You have small receivers. You don't have Gronk. We're going to jam you guys up.
But they will have Gronk, so that's a little different.
It obviously changes this a little bit, but what ruined Pittsburgh in the playoffs last year against New England is that you're just going to stay in this coverage. Brady picks you apart, and he's putting up 30, and it's game over. Like, why would Tomlin decide we need to be different defensively this week against them, knowing historically this matchup it's just not good for us the way we try to defend Brady?
I think you can't just change your defense in a week. When coaches scout and evaluate their team, they evaluate starting from from minicamp into training camp and then into the season. So what they do is they put different defenses out there in minicamp, training camp, and they say, all right, this is good for this team this year. This is good. Now they have the fundamentals that they usually run, but they're saying with this talent, we are better at running this, right? And then you go into the season and then you start to now actually compress what you're running and you do a few tweaks here and there. So I would be very surprised and actually extremely doubt that Mike Tomlin is going to say, all right, guys, we're going to just throw out everything we've done and we're going to run this defense now, because they haven't run it. The players have not run it. So if the players haven't run it, how do you expect them to execute it well and forget well enough to beat Tom Brady? Like, you don't do that. So what you have to do is find the matchups. And that's why people are starting to say NFL is becoming similar to NBA as far as matchups, because you have your defense that you run well. Now you have to figure out, all right, where are we vulnerable? How do we make up for that? Where are we strong? Who are we going to hang our hat on to, I don't know, blanket one side of the field? All right, this is your coverage. That's cat coverage. That's your guy the rest of the game. So we can figure out what we're going to do here. If they can do that, they can win the game.
Can you help explain to me then, and I'm just talking talk to me like I'm a football moron here, but
you are, but okay.
What is too much change week to week? Like you just said, you can't change who you are as a defense, but it always feels like some of these other teams can adapt. Like what's the most you can adapt as an NFL defense in a week?
Okay, so the most you can adapt is how much you can put on one player to make the changes. So, for example, if you want to get to a 3-4 to a 4-3 front based on coverage, etc., then it's up to your whoever, signal caller or whoever you want to deem that person to be able to say, okay, can we get this done? If you can get it done, then you can do it. If you can't, then there's only so much you can put on the table, because the last thing you want is a Wednesday practice to have busted coverages. That means that they're not ready. You can't do it. And then you have to scale it back.
So then you'll know immediately, like, hey, that's too much, and
Correct.
then we got to fix this thing. And it's always great, too, because when the team is too aggressive, they go, hey, we're just going to simplify things around here. All right, coming up next, we're going to do more. We'll have all of our picks for the NFL weekend. But our Sixers All-Access Day here at ESPN, we're going to talk with their CEO, Scott O'Neil, on playing pickup hoops the day of games and the transition from the process to actual victories now. It's ESPN Radio. I'm going to talk with Scott O'Neil, who is the CEO of the Sixers, with our All-Access Day for Philadelphia. So I'm talking to some sources, Scott. You're getting ready for this, but I also heard that you organized a 3 o'clock pickup game with the staff on most home game, like the day of. Is that true?
That is 100% true. We could use another slow shooting guard that plays very little defense.
I'm in.
Are you available?
Well, I don't know. I like touches in the post. But
oh, you're in the post. Yeah, I like to handle the ball. The only thing I have going for my game right now is my mouth.
That's what I heard. I heard
That's
you talk a ton of crap. Like, what's your deal?
I am a classic trash talker. And, I play with a lot of, it's a very young millennial type staff. And I can break them down and get in their heads in about 8 seconds. Yeah, I have a competitive fight and a competitive fire, and it comes out full steam on that court at 3 o'clock today.
So, all right, you're playing at 3. Do guys from the team, because I've always talked to guys, guys that played in the NBA that work in front offices or on staffs, and I'll say, like, do you ever play pickup? And you go, no, I don't ever want to do that because I don't want my current players to have little respect for me. So do you worry about some of the players rolling through the facility and checking you guys out playing?
Oh, they're long gone. They have seen a little action, though. Occasionally we'll have a late night, Friday night run, and our guys, this practice facility, I don't know if you've been down here, but it is a world-class facility. So in the off-season, we'll have guys roll in here at 10 o'clock at night, at midnight, on Saturdays and weekends to get some shots off, and oftentimes we'll have a run going.
Okay, so how does your role change throughout the you're the CEO of the Sixers. It's kind of this league pass deal where everybody's so excited. Like they're watching a 500 team, and every one of us that are NBA guys that are freaking out, be like, "Oh, the Sixers are on again. I'm in." I know this year's been different. Obviously, we want to get to that, but like, what do you do in the course of leading up to and then during a game?
Sure. Well, I mean, listen, the sweat is the most important thing at 3. But generally, by the time we get to a game day, we're getting ready for guests. We have the great ESPN boss, John Skipper, coming tonight, for example. And so, most of my game day is spent in meetings, prepping, and then setting up and entertaining at the game. It's not a bad way to make a living.
Tell me, as an outsider, like, help us understand how tough it was at the end of Hinkie and now the transition into Colangelo, because this is, there are going to be books written about this thing once it's all said and done, depending on what level of success you reach as a team.
Sure. It was hard. I don't know how to put it in words or articulate it fairly enough, but it was excruciating pressure from the media, from agents, from players, the coaching staff, the league from around, players in and around the league, our friends from in and around the game of basketball, and the fans here. And the most misused and misunderstood word in Philadelphia and around the basketball community is process. But the process has never been about losing, not one single day. The process is about winning, and the process doesn't end. I hear somebody say, "Is the process over?" I say, nah, the process isn't going to be over until we're traipsing down Broad Street. And so for our end, and even then, I guess that would be just the beginning. And so but it was very, very difficult. We had some very difficult days. And when you walked in here, like in this office, you just found a bright light. It was when we stepped outside or had to tackle and read the media or talk to friends or walk into a family barbecue. That's when it got dicey and uncomfortable. But we've had a strong resolve as to what we were trying to accomplish. We understood what we walked into, and we've had our eye on the prize since day one.
I felt like Sam was so unapologetic about it that it hurt him. That other teams that have decided, okay, let's build up chances for a better draft pick, they would do it in a more publicly massaged way. They'd bring in a vet and sign him to like a fake 2-year deal And then it'd be like, no, we're not doing that. And Sam was just very direct. It's like, what's the point of pretending I'm doing something that I'm not doing? And I think on paper, the plan, it all sounds good. And then in the execution, year 3, it's just so painful. And then you allude to that pressure. So how frustrating was that for you when it felt like, the way you just described it, on the inside, you still were all on the same page, but clearly it felt like the league, some of your partners were going, we don't want this as part of our business anymore?
If we said it once, we said it 10,000 times internally. It's like the great arbitrage, and maybe the only arbitrage left in sports is patience. And there's not a lot of that to go around. That and a dose of humility, I think, are the two things that we could all use a little bit more of. And I think from our end, as the pressure outside intensified, we kept seeing signs of things happening. We kept seeing signs of Robert Covington emerging. We kept seeing signs of Joel kind of working to get back on the court and get healthy. And so we kept seeing Rashawn Holmes emerging kind of essentially out of nowhere. So we kept seeing the signs of things happening. And then we build this incredible $80 million training complex that's like a, oasis. So we kept seeing progress. The fans kept responding. You would go to our games. Remember, like even in that dreaded 10-win season, you'd go to our games. It'd be in the fourth quarter. We're down 20 points, and our fans would be on their feet chanting defense. I mean, it's enough to give you the chills. And I've been through a lot of things in my career, a lot of ups and downs. But I was part of the Linsanity hysteria at Madison Square Garden. That's right. when I worked with the Knicks, and I got to tell you, this dwarfs that. And this has legs. Jeremy had a great run, and it was a great 3-week hysteria. This is going to be a 10-year hysteria. I mean, the interest that we have. I was in London a couple of months ago. Amazingly, like I'm walking on the street, and people are like, I have, of course, rocked in Sixers gear, and I get to trust the process across the street in an English accent. I mean, it's unbelievable. And so from our end, yes, it was hard. Yes, we clearly had our eye on the prize. We made it through the rain, so to speak. And now, we look around and you look at, from my perspective, I look at what Brian's been able to build in a really short time, and it's nothing short of spectacular. And I mean like an analytics platform with Alex Rucker, whose guy is off the charts. Ned Cohen, who we got from the league, Mark Eversley, who heads up our scouting, has kind of rebuilt our scouting infrastructure and kind of transformed who we are and who we aspire to be. And that is a world-class organization for a really long time. And that always starts with people, and talent. And you mesh that experience with a coaching staff who has kept this locker room together and these players playing hard through a really, really tough stretch. And I don't know if there's another coach on the planet that can do what he was able to do in terms of culture and making this a wonderful place to play despite the losing. When I tell you that I walked in the gym in May and it was packed with guys, that never happens. I've been in the league for 25 years, never seen it before.
And I know Van Gundy. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm saying all there because they want to be there, all there because they said, this is not acceptable, all there because they said, hey, we have higher aspirations. We want to get better. And the coaches staff, they don't only meet them halfway. They'll meet them 75%, and they'll meet them any time of day or night. It's an I will tell you, like, this has been an incredible place for 5 years. People are seeing it this year, which is great. But for us, man, the coach has driven so much incredible things here, and he's regarded, respected, and beloved in this city for it.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It really is. I'm happy for you guys, and I was kind of talking with one of your staff members last night going, I remember when you talked about the first tier of teams in the NBA, the Sixers are always a part of that, and I want to see it happen again for that city. That's Scott O'Neil, the CEO of the 76ers. They are all access today on ESPN and coverage of their games tonight, 7 Eastern against the Thunder. Enjoyed it a lot, man.
Ryan, anything, anytime, and we'd love to have you down for a game.
Okay, I'm in, man. Let's do that. That is Scott O'Neil, CEO of the Sixers.
He meant to watch a game, not to play.
No, he was talking about gear.
He definitely was not talking about
tearaways.
No. That's not your new gig.
I'll get you a penny, Vilma. Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Get instant gold status at Shell. Join the Fuel Rewards program now at fuelrewards.com/gold. So, the plan. Jalen checked in. We're good. It's going to be guest the rest of the way. Then our picks. Are you up for that?
Are you up for that?
I may have you just interview the guys, and I'm going to chill out the last hour.
Be careful.
I just want to chill, bro.
You just want to
Strider out of Benihana.
If you're not going to do any work here, then you have to go do work in the weight room. It's one or the other.
I would
right?
gladly.
If you're not going to do any work here, you got to go work out.
Hasselbeck did a pull-up contest with Will Kane, but they did those kipping deals. Dude, they both went 30 deep.
Oh, God. Impressive.
But
impressive.
Did you see the video of it?
No.
Buying tickets to sports and concerts can be complicated and confusing, but there's a better way to buy with SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the smartest, easiest way to get tickets to every type of live event. Whether you're searching for a last-minute deal, planning a night out, or need to find the perfect gift, SeatGeek helps you find the best seats at the best prices. Fully guaranteed. There's nothing quite like seeing your favorite team or musician in person, and SeatGeek will get you closer to the action for a great value. I have the SeatGeek app on my phone. It's by far the easiest way I've found to shop for tickets. I can be anywhere, and just a few taps, I can instantly find seats. I actually just used SeatGeek to buy tickets for my friends to the Broncos game while I was back on the East Coast. SeatGeek is designed to make your ticket buying experience easier than ever. And to get you the most bang for your buck, SeatGeek grades every ticket based on value to help you immediately identify the best seats that fit your budget. Plus, every purchase is fully guaranteed, so you can shop for tickets on SeatGeek with confidence. And best of all, my listeners get $20 off their first SeatGeek purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app, enter the promo code Russillo today. That's promo code Russillo for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase.
Guys, wouldn't your wife or girlfriend love it if you treated her to the very best this Christmas? Now you can, with the world's softest pajamas by Pajamagram. Created by a team of pajama experts, the world's softest PJs are lighter than a cloud, softer than a bunny, like cashmere, only better. She'll love how heavenly they feel. Includes free gift packaging and Christmas delivery is guaranteed. So visit pajamagram.com or call 1-800-GIVE-PJs.
We got Vilma for another hour, and we got Jalen Rose, we got Damien Woody. It's the Russillo Show, ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. Pick from a range of coverage options with the Name Your Price tool to find a price that works for you. The music cut out early there because Vilma just dropped like 7 requests on us at once. Poor Bubba. What do we do with
this? Was one of his requests.
I had to spice up the music.
Not clean.
Yeah, I had to get them clean versions of it.
So it's tough to find them without swears.
Did you find my Stanley Clark silly putty cover that I wanted?
We're looking.
All right, thank you.
You'd be surprised. I go all over the spectrum. Wedding DJ. That's my next gig in another life.
That doesn't pay as well as sitting next to it.
That's what I said, in another life.
Yeah, all right. Well, unless you get really good at it, then you start doing festivals. Joining us now, a man that knows my co-host pretty well here. We've been lucky enough to talk to Vince Wilfork a bunch of times, but I don't know. I almost want to get out of the way as the two you guys get out of here.
Vince, what's up, man?
What's going on, boss?
I don't know. I don't know if you're watching right now. Do you see those 2 ribs hats that we put for you? We got the U helmet, and we got the ribs hats for you. So tell us a little bit about the ribs hat. You know I'm always messing with you, too, about it when I see your commercials.
Man, you know, everybody knows. So I just, back, last year, I hooked up with Kingsford. They reached out to me, and we just did a little something. And I'm good to say that, my relationship with Kingsford is pretty good, and really, you know how I roll when I cook, too. Yes, baby. So it was just something fun that we put together, knowing that I like the barbecue. And basically,
no, but see, you're trying to downplay it. So Vince says he likes barbecue. Vince gets excited when you talk about like some good barbecue. Vince gets excited, and he's. I'm not gonna make fun of you. I'm not gonna do your mannerisms, but I'm telling you, him and barbecue, him and food. If it's good food, you'll know. It's some good food.
Absolutely.
Look, I mean, I've seen the Big Y ads. I'm up here in New England, so I've seen him with Vince for a while. Who was Vince? Who's a better basketball player, you or Vilma?
Me. Vilma just play football, man.
Vince, are you serious right now? Are you? We used to have pickup games. Did you not see my explosion on the court in the pickup games?
That don't have anything to do with nothing. Have you seen my explosion on the court?
Listen, I used to beat Vince in basketball, pool. I know you remember that. You used to kill him in pool. I did not.
You lying on your radio show to make yourself sound pretty good. So I'm gonna let you roll with it. Because I love you, brother.
Oh man.
So is this like a big brother, little brother thing? Because you guys are the same class.
No. Brother. Okay. We love each other like a brother thing. But man, Vince, I will say this though, in all honesty, Vince was, if not the best tackle, one of the best tackles I played with. And this was all, I'm talking dating back to college. I saw Vince, as serious as a heart attack. I saw Vince on a 3rd and short one time, our senior year. He may not remember this. He literally, it's 3rd and short, jumped over the lineman at the snap. He was in a 4-point stance, jumped over the lineman, and made the tackle to stop the running back for a 1-yard gain on a 3rd and short. I swear to God, I looked at him, I was like, wow. It was him, Sean Taylor, and DJ Williams were probably the 3 most freakish athletes I had seen. Andre Johnson, too, but on defensive side, those 3 were probably the most freakish athletes I ever seen.
But the thing with us, John, is, and I tell people all the time how different University of Miami is, because we always competed at the highest level with one another. It wasn't so when we played against people, it was like a practice for us, because we saw the best of the best in practice, and we always pushed each other. I remember we used to get up in 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning just to work out and get it done. But we were so dedicated to being the best, and some of my best teammates come from college. I mean, hands down, being around some of the best, being around my brothers, being around a chance to grow with one another, man. Those were the best times of my football career, man, being in college with a bunch of you guys. And even to this day, we remain close friends, like we're brothers, no matter where we go and who we play against or who we play with. We always brothers, man. And I cherish those memories, and I talk to a lot of people that want to know about, what we did in college and, how we did it and stuff. And I say, you can never take away the fact of what we had and what we did in college and to make us the best, man. And we, it just came down to each one of us is being dedicated to each other and to the game and being passionate about what we did and loved. And we pushed one another. So that's why we were good. And that's why it wasn't surprising to see that we had successful NFL careers, because we was taught the right way. We had that competitive edge over everyone that we did not want to be defeated. So if you look at, NFL now and back in the days, you would see some of the baddest players that ever played the game with Hurricanes, and the longevity in what we did, because we was passionate about it, man. So that's something that I'm always going to, remember and cherish and tell stories, because those times I love. Those were times there where we worked out and we pushed each other and we was pissed off at each other. We fought. We did everything that brothers do. But at the end of the day, it was one cause, is to win. And we did a lot of that.
We're talking to Vince Wilfork here, the Russillo Show with Jonathan Vilma. And I'm just going back to that being competitive, because Vince, you're never going to remember this. Maybe I brought this up once before, but when you were drafted in 04 and you went 21st, I was the first person to interview you. I was actually in Foxborough at the time doing a draft show on that day. And really, if people, you'll remember this, but if people remember how the draft worked out, how'd you come out? Like, people thought it was weird that you even went 21st, and you were the 6th pick in the first round. So of the 6 of the top 21 picks were Canes. And so, Sean went 5th, Kellen went
6th,
right? And then
I went 12th.
You went 12th. DJ went 17th. Vernon Carey went. How mad were you that all these dudes were going ahead of you when you had come out a year before? Like, you were supposed to go ahead of all those guys.
He was pissed.
I was pissed.
He was pissed.
I remember, being sitting there and seeing all my buddies getting picked. And some of them actually came to my draft day party. And I remember talking with DJ. DJ really didn't know what to say to me. Boy, they knew what to say to me. And they just saw my face how mad I was. And
I remember that.
I got picked by New England. And I remember talking to my defensive coordinator at the time, Randy Shannon. He said, don't be mad, because you're going to be the first one to win the Super Bowl. So don't be mad. And I was like, man, I ain't trying to hear that man's coach. Man, Bernie before me. I'm glad Bernie before me, because I hated the dog.
Hey, I'm telling you, I remember.
So wait a minute, DJ's at your draft party, and he gets drafted at your party before you.
Yeah. So I'm pissed off.
Hey, how about this? I called Vince to congratulate him. So I called Vince. I'm like, Vince, man, congrats, man. I'm going to play you twice a year. He's like, man, what the hell? Oh, I should have been drafted. He's like, what the hell going on? I was like, all right, Vince, I'll talk to you.
It was one of those, I was pissed off, and after talking to Randy Shannon and after I won a Super Bowl, I was like, okay, yeah.
No, you didn't have to bring that up. Everybody knew that you won the Super Bowl. You didn't have to bring that up. All right.
I was like, cool. Hey, it worked out for the best. I couldn't have one of the better careers that I had without, my roots basically growing up and loving the game, going to high school, playing in, my hometown, Santa Lucia's at the time. Now we have probably like 3 high schools, and then going to the University of Miami and play with all my buddies that just, like I said, we always took it to a whole other level. And then get drafted by New England and being coached by Bill Belichick, and it was just, my career couldn't win any better than it did. So I'm happy to be retired and live a good life, man.
Hey, no doubt, Vince, and really appreciate the time. I got to tell you, for a kid just coming out of school, disappointed where you get drafted, you faked it great on the radio. We thought you were pumped. So you couldn't tell how disappointed you were when I interviewed you, 13 years ago?
Yeah, but I had to fake the phone, but I was pissed.
You did a great job.
All right, Big V, man. I appreciate you, man.
All love, brother.
Okay, awesome. Vince Wilfork, NFL 2004-2016, same class coming out as Vilma. Jalen Rose on all the LeBron stuff, the Rockets, what's up with them. Also, maybe my Westbrook theory, and then Damien Woody in studio. So some great stuff coming up here. Russillo Show, ESPN Radio.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I'm so happy, I feel like I can fly.
Disclaimer, you will not be able to fly by switching to Geico. This is against the laws of physics and nature. If you find yourself flying, please seek professional and or medical help immediately. In the unlikely event you find yourself flying, you might be a superhero, or a pigeon, or a superhero named Pidgewoman, who was bitten by a radioactive pigeon. If you are indeed Pidgewoman, Geico retains all licensing publishing rights in the event Pidgewoman the movie becomes a top-grossing Hollywood blockbuster.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
We got Damien Woody. He came in early. He always stops by the Russillo Show early. That's why we love him so much. He's decked out. We got Vilma in studio. So Damien Woody and Vilma, and now Jalen Rose on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. What is up, my man? How are you, Jalen?
What up, though? Thanks for having me on.
So you got to be ready. You got 2 guys with Super Bowl rings in here just wanting to fire NBA questions at you. So last night was fun.
I'm MLB, NFL.
Done. Okay.
That's
all right, Jalen.
Whatever you want to do. Derek
That's that Detroit coming out.
Retire by doing the Yankees a favor, wherever you want to go.
Okay.
Right. Jalen, remember, 5 days a week bringing it. So if I look at last night's game and then everybody going, we all knew LeBron was going to just tell Lonzo just real stuff, basic, kind of information here. But then everybody runs with it and then be like, okay, that means he wants to end up out in L.A. You talk to a lot of people. I talk to some people around the league. Like, I'm still of the belief, or at least understanding, that we still don't really know what LeBron is going to do. So what is the most important thing? What is the kind of stuff that you hear that sways you about what kind of decision he could make after the playoffs this year?
So here's the thing about LeBron James. I'm noticing a guy who's the best player in the game, hasn't played arguably better at any point in his career, more efficient from 3, finishing at the hoop, averaging as many assists as ever, as many rebounds as ever. He's just planting seeds around the league. When he leaves Houston, he hugs up with Chris Paul, who's the godfather of his kids. Then we're going to speculate about Houston. When he plays against the Los Angeles Lakers, he puts his jersey up over his mouth. He tossed the Lonzo ball. LeBron leaves New York City. What does he do? IG post, King of New York. So I think what he's truly doing is keeping his options open. But in reality, I would not be surprised if he ultimately stays in Cleveland with all things equal.
Hey, Jay, listen, I don't even care about the other team. I'm all about the Lake Show. I make no bones about it. I've repped the purple and gold. And here's my thing. When we talk about Lonzo Ball and how unselfish he is as far as distributing the ball, he definitely needs to work on the jump shot. But my bigger question is, do the Lakers have the pieces to attract like 2 max contracts? Because I'm looking at it as, okay, this summer it's time to take it to that next level if I'm the Los Angeles Lakers.
Well, I have some bad news for you and your purple and gold. They have the cachet and the history to attract basically any player. But the reality of it is, who's actually a realistic option? I don't see LeBron James going to play in Los Angeles in a rebuilding situation for a squad that has Kuzma and Brandon Ingram as the second and third best player. So you look across the landscape and say, who's going to be a free agent? Paul George has already acknowledged that he'd love to play in L.A. Boogie Cousins is going to be a free agent. Can you get him from New Orleans? Possibly. Now, if that is able to happen, then it's more legitimate. But I don't necessarily see that taking place to the point where sacrifice winning. Because in this scenario, when you go to Los Angeles, people look at you now to be the savior. But the Golden State Warriors have 4 All-Stars. So if you're going to knock them off, if you're going to knock the Houston Rockets off, if you're going to compete with the greatness of the San Antonio Spurs, you're going to need multiple All-Stars. And I just don't see that level of collection of talent going to L.A. unless LeBron and CP3 and Paul George just all team up and say we're going to go play there. But I think that's a long shot.
Well, going back to LeBron, Jalen, why does he need to plant seeds? He is the best player in the NBA, clearly, one of the best players of all time. What is if he tells Cleveland at the end of the season, look, Cleveland, give me X or I'm going here? Why does he even need to take time to plant seeds throughout the league?
The reason why he does that is control. Really, I've talked about, if you look at the Eastern Conference, LeBron James, as he rose to dominance, either dismantled the competition, an older Celtics Big Three, an older Detroit Pistons squad that was really successful, or disabled other Hall of Famers like Dwayne Wade, wouldn't play with him, wouldn't play with Chris Bosh, and then other players that are going into the Hall of Fame that were in the East at the same time, like a Carmelo Anthony, wasn't able to build anything to create a rivalry with Amari Stoudemire, and obviously Paul George and Derrick Rose weren't able to do it either. So that's who LeBron is. On a night-to-night basis, not only does he get a chance to be the best player in the game, but don't underestimate Rich Paul, his really good friend, represents a ton of players around the league. So he also becomes big brother to Ben Simmons and Eric Bledsoe, and the list goes on and on of players that, whether they're represented by Clutch Sports or they come through the LeBron James Skills Academy. So he gets a chance to play big brother as well. So he gets a chance to touch all of the bases and control pretty much like a puppet master what's happening around the league.
We're talking with Jalen Rose, part of NBA Countdown. Again, that coverage tonight starts at 7 Eastern. Thunder, Sixers. That's part of our Sixers All Access Day on Today on ESPN. Since I have you three guys with me, again, Vilma, Woody, and Jalen Rose on the phone here. Jalen, you moved teams. Vilma, you bounced from the Jets. Damien, I remember your deal going to the Jets, but that was deciding to leave New England for Detroit at the time. Jalen, I'll start with you. I want you guys to just jump in. When did you know it was time? Like, for sometimes for you, Jalen, you just straight out traded, but like, when did you start thinking, okay, this means I need to move on to another franchise?
Well, in basketball, normally, if you're a popular player, regardless of your, I guess, salary, which means you have fans and people wearing your jersey, what they start to do is trash your name publicly and talk about things that people aren't necessarily able to quantify, like how's his attitude, how's his practice habits, how's he in the locker room, to justify moving you. So once you get moved, people like, that's why they moved him. It makes sense now. So in basketball, it kind of works that way because you don't necessarily trade player for player. Nowadays, you just trade in salaries.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I remember when it was about time for me to move from the Jets, the stories came out that I don't fit the 3-4 defense, and you gotta move on from that. But I remember personally, it was time when the one day I woke up, had a good night's sleep, felt good, but I woke up and said, I don't want to go to work. That was the first time ever in my career, training camp, college, high school, the first time ever I woke up and said, I don't want to go to work. And that's when I knew. That's actually when I called my agent that day and said, it's not going to work. This can't be my career right here. So we got to do something. That was the first time.
Mine was all about the money. Mine was all about the bottom dollar. The year I left New England after the 2003 season, but before the season started, we tried to negotiate a contract. We just couldn't come to terms, and the policy was that we weren't going to negotiate during the season. So, fast forward, we go on and, we win the Super Bowl that year. I make the Pro Bowl. And I remember after the Super Bowl going into Coach Belichick's office, and Bill was in there along with the GM Scott Pioli, and they basically were like, man, we really want you back, but you're saying one thing, your agent's saying another thing. And I'm thinking in my head, okay, I see what time it is. And they were like, oh, okay, well, we're going to let you test the market. Well, when you say test the market, literally, I threw up the deuce. I went into the locker room. And I grabbed a black trash bag. And I remember Willie McGinnis like, bro, where are you going? I'm like, I'm out of here. And he just started laughing like, yeah, okay. I'm like, I guarantee you will not see me step foot in this locker room again. I cleaned out my locker, and literally like 2 weeks later, I was signing a deal in Detroit. So, yeah, man, I'm like, man, listen, I'm not about to take this hometown discount. I got to be able to pay these bills. I got kids. My wife and I, we got kids, man, that we got to put through school. So I had to get that bread.
What about you, Ryan? Did you have to get that bread too?
Belichick did let me test the market.
That worked out for you. Worked out. Got it.
Jalen, have fun tonight. This all access stuff you're doing is awesome. And then with two teams like the Thunder and the Sixers tonight, it's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for your time, man.
Thanks for the love, fun group. And Damien, you can buy a lot of rings on eBay. Always get the money. I agree.
Yes, remind everybody, too, as well, Jalen Jacoby podcast. Subscribe right now to the 30 for 30 podcast in the Listen tab of the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts. Brought to you by Delta, making your travel experience informed, connected, and seamless. Keep climbing. We got Woody sticking around. Let's talk some NFL. We got a bunch of good games this weekend, so let's go through those, pick 'em. That was fun, man. We probably should have just started with that. You guys are awesome there. It's ESPN Radio. Jonathan Vilma approves. Damien Woody hanging as well. The Russillo Show on ESPN Radio. Want to remind you, we got you covered right here for bowl game action. Tune in for this game coming up tomorrow for the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. That's followed by the Gildan New Mexico Bowl and the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPNradio.com, and the ESPN app. Vilma was trying to explain to me, Woody, that, okay, Pittsburgh, the way they seem to defend New England, Tom just mouth-watering kickoff, I'm going to dice you guys up.
Yep.
Who knows? I mean, maybe teams get mad, things are inconsistent. But he was telling me, like, defensively, it's really hard for you to just become a different defense and implement all new things based on the matchup. So how would you see that offensively when you would notice, okay, something hasn't been working, and now they're going to try this completely different thing against some of the quarterbacks you're playing with?
Well, I mean, a lot of teams have tendencies. That's why we do like 4-game breakdowns. And teams over that time, they kind of do the same, same type of things in down and distances. And Jonathan Vilma will tell you, like, 3rd down, 6+, they run these schemes and, so on and so forth. So when they start deviating off of that, then it's just like, okay.
Well, who was the most predictable? Like, who did you think was the most predictable on defense, and then you go offense?
Like coordinator? Scheme?
Yeah.
Team or scheme?
Give me team.
I would say scheme-wise, I would say like when Tony Dungy was playing, that Tampa 2, you knew what they were running every play, basically. They weren't changing. Like Tony Dungy, Herm, because they all came from that same school. They just played fast. What was that? They just depended on their front guys, get after the quarterback. It was literally rush the passer and play the run on the way. Right. That's when they had like Warren Sapp and Simeon Rice. They had like some ballers on the defensive line. And then,
Booger was on that, wasn't he?
Yeah, Booger was on it. Yep, Booger was on it. So they had John Lynch at safety. All that type of stuff.
And Brooks was still,
Derek
like, even
Brooks,
though he's bigger, he was kind of like athletic enough to run around.
Brooks? He was never big.
Derek Brooks was small.
Brooks is my size.
Brooks is your small. Well, I see.
Derek Brooks was like,
well, first I'm bigger than you. Let's be clear about that. So I'm not that small. So let's be very clear about that. I'm bigger than you. Second, Derek Brooks was my size. Yes.
Gosh, I don't know. I guess
Derek Brooks was like 220, 225.
When I see him now, though, is he?
No. He's not bigger. I haven't seen him in a couple of years.
Maybe he changed up his diet. I just thought he looked bigger now.
Everything about him and that defense was speed.
Okay,
That's
all right.
So
who do you think was predictable then?
No scheme was predictable. The quarterback that had the marquee player, like a Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford, like a Tony Gonzalez when he was with Kansas City and Atlanta, or Antonio Gates, you knew on third down that's where he's going. That's his comfort zone. That's his outlet. So we would make sure that we would double that guy and then figure out where they're going to go with the ball after that. So it always take about, a quarter and a half if we're playing one of those teams and say, all right, look, we're going to double just on third down. We're doubling Tony, period. And then let's see where Matt Ryan goes with the ball. Now let's see what the coordinator does.
Because, listen, when you open up a game, most teams, especially offensively, you have like plays that are scripted. They have 10, 15 plays that are scripted.
Yep.
But as the game progresses,
you go back
and you always revert back to who you are.
That's right.
And if it's that matchup, the quarterback's going to look for his guy. And I think that's one reason it's hard to defend the Patriots, because they're from week to week they morph into different things. They go one week they could be feeding Brandon Cooks, another week they could be feeding Gronk, then they could be feeding the running back side of the backfield. You just don't know from week to week how they're going to attack you.
I mentioned that Kevin Falk was my toughest cover.
Yeah,
toughest cover because he was a guy.
He was like Deion Lewis with Deion Lewis.
Exactly. You could put him in the slot. You run him out the back. He run every route out of the backfield, seam route included. Put him in the slot. And like you said, it can go 3 weeks where he wasn't the main focus. And then next thing you know, it's like, damn it. He's the guy today. He's the guy.
What was it like dealing with Vilma for you, Woody?
Speed. Like he was he was athletic and very high football IQ. See, guys with high football IQ, they diagnose plays quick. So as an offensive lineman, you know that I can't get hung up in the trash. I got to get up there and get on this guy, because if I don't, then he's going to make every tackle. It's kind of like Luke Kuechly is like that. His football IQ is just through the roof, and he's able to diagnose plays and make the tackle. And the big uglies can't get to him.
Yeah, and to that point, my mindset is, I don't want to be with him.
He doesn't want to lean on. He doesn't want to lean on me all game.
Exactly.
That's playing to my advantage.
All right, did Vilma talk a lot?
No, he wasn't like that.
What about Woody Vilma?
No. See, because I told Ryan like way back, I said, you get the linemen, they always do a little extra after play and all that. I get that. I accept that. So I never really talked a lot of trash afterwards. First, I had too much to think about anyway. So my whole thing was make the play. All right, a little shove after the play, whatever. I got to figure out like the personnel down and distance. I'm not worried about that.
See, I talk trash like if somebody comes at me, then it's on. It's on and popping. Then we're definitely yapping the whole game. But like it does nothing to me like talk to linebackers. Like you're smaller than me. Like I can crush you. Like me, I like talking trash to like the big guys.
That makes me feel so good.
Trash to the big guys because I can get you and you can get me. That's just the competition of it.
I have to admit, just as a guy who watches, when I see the enormous guys get messed with like a slot receiver,
yes,
it has to infuriate the big guys so much.
Well,
you're what
the problem is? Here's the problem. It's always the little guys that start things, but they never finish. They do all the talking,
and somehow they always back out. Once it gets going.
Once you watch it, like on film or the TV copy, they're like in the back. But we're the big guys. We're the ones, slamming people, throwing punches, doing stuff like that, and they're the ones in the back just kind of watching like, look what I started.
All right, who you got? You got the Pats this weekend or Steelers?
Man, it's a close one, man. This is going to be a hell of a game, man. But I'm going to say the Patriots until the Steelers.
Why?
Steelers got to be able to crack the code. The one thing the Patriots do, they make you play left-handed.
Okay.
They, traditionally.
So you think that they can stop Antonio Brown? Patriots can stop Antonio Brown.
I think they can slow him down enough.
And Le'Veon Bell.
Yes.
It's a tall task.
I was going to say it is a tall task, but still, Patriots got the Steelers number.
I like them against Le'Veon more than most teams, even though I don't love their personnel on the front right now. But I remember talking with Brewski before the playoff game last year, and he was great at this.
Yep.
And he was so animated, and we were behind the set at Sports Center. I go, what do you guys do with Le'Veon that's different? He goes, all week, Bill will be saying, don't let his patience and allow you to be impatient. So if you let him get a yard or two, tackle, wrap him up, done. But if we're tackling them 3-4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, that's bad because that means we're all rushing out to go get them, and then we're going to be out of our assignments. He goes, that whole thing will be let him read off of him. Like, don't freak out.
Basically, build a wall.
Yeah,
just build a wall against him because he's going to be dancing back there, and the minute one person poke their head in the wrong gap, he's gone.
And I think the Pats, even though, again, not liking the personnel, they're better disciplined with that kind of stuff than most teams are. They just seem to do it week in, week out.
Are you taking the Steelers? You seem like
I am taking the Steelers. I am taking the Steelers. I'm taking the Steelers. I know, I hear all the 4-0. I get that, but the Steelers are very talented and can score literally from any position. That's when I look at it when I'm like, all right, even if you stop one position, the running back, for example, they can still get off in the passing game or vice versa. So I think that they cracked the code.
Good stuff. Hey, you're awesome. Going to come back, all right? Thank you, Damien.
Yep.
All right, up next, our picks against the spread, and I yelled a little bit about the U 30 for 30s, which I've done before. It's ESPN Radio.
Hater, jealous.
Previously on the Ryen Russillo Show.
Are you serious? We made like 3 movies about you guys. We like the 30 for 30 series could be brought to you by the U. You guys are on nonstop again. Like every time I turn my TV back on, I see you guys. I'm so sick of all of you dudes.
Why are you sick of us?
Because it's always the same stuff. Like if you guys can brag about all the crap that you did and all the stuff that was in the gray areas and that you were the outlaws and that you were thugs, and then as soon as anybody else says that you were a thug, then we're all jerks and we're racist and we don't get it. Like you guys are so
wait a minute.
Like you don't care if you embrace all of it. I'm hot. No, I'm ready to go, Vilma. You come in here, you start pushing me around. No way. I'm pushing Russillo, folks.
Where did this come from, Ryan?
Because I saw you last night in the You Invented Swagger T-shirt with the big chain on, talking about one of your teammates accused the state of Florida of tearing down the Orange Bowl to erase the memory of Hurricane football.
That could possibly be true.
Or to increase revenues in a new stadium.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I don't know. Now I'm a little.
How do you feel right now? Do you feel like it was worth it? I feel honestly,
bad. I honestly feel bad because you and I become so close. Just a few weeks. I did. I think the last 3 nights I've gone up to the master suite, the master bedroom at my place. I turn on the TV and it's been a different you.
Yes,
it's been a different one every time.
Let's just move on.
All right, let's move on. All right, let's go. The weekend preview of the Russillo Show brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. We have music today, Bubba, for this? Just anything.
Our boy, he's back. Vegas couldn't keep him down for too long. After a strong 4-1 week, Russillo's creeping back toward 500 on the season.
Not after this week.
As they always say, it's not how you start, but how you finish.
Right. Trying to get to 9 seasons of this? You go first.
No, you go first.
Nope.
I'm the winner. Winner always enters in last. Yes, I'm the champion.
All right.
Troy -7 versus North Texas.
Give me North Texas and all 7 of those points.
Really? I'm taking Troy with the points.
No, it's minus the points.
Whatever. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I think I do. Okay.
This is a lot easier. This is a pick-em.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm picking.
The LA Chargers are a pick-em at Kansas City.
I'm picking Kansas City. Best record in the division. They win against their division opponents.
I don't know. You can have them, dude. I'm all about the Chargers from LA.
Green Bay +2.5 at Carolina.
I'm taking Carolina. Aaron Rodgers is not 100%. He's good enough to play. He's not 100%. Carolina, they're fighting for a division title as well.
I see a theme here. Motivation. What is the team playing for? I'm going Green Bay +2.5, so we're split on the first 3.
The LA Rams +2.5 at Seattle.
That other team in LA.
Yeah, that other team in LA, they're 5-1 on the road, so I will definitely take them with the points against Seattle.
Yes, but Sierra and Russell Wilson gave out Starbucks gift cards.
Which means what again?
It means that they're dedicated on and off the field.
Wait,
Although, you know what? Maybe a distraction. Maybe you're right. Yeah, give me the Rams.
No. You can't switch up your pick. You got Seattle. You just didn't realize that the Rams, I see the Rams highlighted there.
Yeah, I had already highlighted them.
Oh, I don't like when you pick with me. That means
New
I'm going to
England,
lose.
-3 at Pittsburgh.
I said Pittsburgh all day long for 2 hours. I said Pittsburgh. I am taking Pittsburgh.
I'm going to take the 3 points. They're the home dog. Betting wise, I still think New England wins the game, but I'm just those 3 points.
Okay, so the best you can be is 1 game over 500 on the season.
I will be.
The best you can be. I don't think you will be because you picked some games against me and I'm better than you. I'm just throwing it out there that I am better than you at this.
You're better looking, you're younger, you're faster, you're stronger.
Well, don't, you know what?
I'm okay. I'm accepting of my lane.
You are patronizing me right now.
No,
Stop it.
I'm non-delusional on-air person.
Stop it.
It's a Russillo Show with Jonathan Vilma. It's ESPN Radio.